If I were starting my consulting business all over again, what would I do?
How? I don't know.
And it got me thinking. I would do 5 things that I did not do the first time, like getting my mind right and doing my research and making sure that I was officially legal and my structure was set up right away. I would market the hell out of it and I would officially launch it to the masses. Yeah, I do that so differently. I mean, if I knew then what I know now, I'd share it with everybody else. Okay, so the first thing that I would do, probably a little bit differently than when I started my very first consulting business. You guys have heard my story before. If you haven't, the gist of it is, and to summarize and make a really long story short, is my first consulting business failed. And it failed for a number of reasons. I think the biggest reason is that the universe needed for me to experience that failure so that I could grow into bringing you guys CPTV and giving you the tips and the hindsight that is 2020 for all of you. But I think the first thing that I would definitely do is to spend some time getting my mind all the way right. Getting my mind together. That's the first step really in starting a business. A lot of times you do things differently. You immediately say, I want to pick a name, I want to get a website, but you don't spend enough time really thinking through it. And ultimately that comes back to bite you in the butt. Because getting your mind right and wrapping your arms around what you're doing is going to be critical. So the first thing that I would definitely do is tell you to understand the commitment and the sacrifice that it is truly going to take to be an entrepreneur. It is truly a commitment, especially if you're like me and you are starting this consulting business as a side hustle first. The time management skills that it requires to do it well is so significant. And it was something that I was learning as I was doing and as I was going and as I was growing. So I would say it's definitely commitment focused and sacrifice focused. I had to give up a lot of things. I had to give up kind of my social life. I didn't go home and visit my hometown and my friends there. I lost touch with a lot of people because my time was very limited. I was working my full-time job, and then with every waking moment and free moment that I had, I was really trying to grow my side gig and my consulting business. So understanding that was important. Also gaining clarity around who I was going to serve. And I still struggle with niching down, focusing on a particular audience, and bringing that intellectual property to a particular group. Naturally, as an entrepreneur, your mind tells you don't limit who you can serve. Don't limit who you're selling to. Don't limit your audience.
No, don't do it.
But the reality is, the more and more I begin to focus on niching down what I'm doing, I begin to see even better results. And it provides me with such clarity around exactly who I'm going to serve. So, I'd spend more time gaining clarity around my ICA. I would also spend more time gaining clarity around the intellectual property that I would do. I have had different consulting businesses over the years that have focused on different things. The first was like nonprofit development and capacity building for nonprofit organizations. And I did fund development and grant writing and sales and nonprofits. Then I did benefits consulting and insurance. And then I've done HR, like kind of broadening it out and realizing that my true gift surrounds just business capacity, business growth structures and strategies, starting and growing businesses in general, and being used kind of as an operations manager and a COO for a lot of businesses, going in, figuring out what's wrong, what needs to be fixed, and then creating the structures and strategies and the systems and even the teams in order to see that organization switch, pivot, and nurture is my intellectual property. And so it took me years to kind of get to that point. So getting your mind right is really the first step, and it's one of the first things that I would definitely spend some months doing before I would venture out to start the consulting business that I have today. The second step is I would do more research. I would do a lot of research because in this whole thing, ignorant ain't bliss, y'all, for real. I would spend more time understanding that I'm a consultant and that I will be paid to be an expert. And that means that I have to really, truly validate my business idea, validate your idea, make sure that the service that you are planning on moving forward with is one that is wanted and needed by the masses, that you actually have customers that want to pay for that expertise and for that particular problem-solving skill. And that means that in that research, I would also spend a lot of time, you have to spend a lot of time understanding and knowing your customer. in order to validate your idea and to know whether or not the masses want what you have to offer and want your problem solving skill set, you have to know the problems of the customer, which also brings me back to understanding and knowing who your niche is. You can really truly speak to individuals, to particular people, to particular audiences better when you understand them, when you know them, when you are focused on them and only them, and when you can communicate the value that you bring by solving their problems. And that is really the critical piece to having a business that you may start that will not go anywhere, that won't grow, or that will grow very, very slowly. If you have visions in your head of dancing sugar plums, that you want to see a business that really does take off and skyrocket and grow very rapidly, then these first two things that I would do are really important. Knowing your audience and being able to build towards that audience is a big part of knowing what you're going to do and doing that research in order to validate it. And then also understanding what market you're in, who your competition is, not because you don't want to have competition, because a lot of people say, well, I can't start something if there's competitors out there. When you do the proper research, you will be able to figure that out. So I would definitely do the research a whole lot more than I've done in the past if I were starting today. The third thing that I would do if I was starting my consulting business all over again today is, and really in this order, is I would really truly make it official. I would set it up legally all at one time. I would knock that out all in a very short period of time. It's the reason why my Get Your Business in Order online course is so popular and it is doing so well, is because it literally teaches you step by step how to set up the basic structure of your business. And that's important. And you can really go through that online course and you can get it set up in a week and be completely done with step 3, which I think is absolutely important. So when I say setting it up officially, setting up your structure, setting it up legally, I mean picking a good name. There is an entire art to choosing a name, claiming your brand, getting your domain, getting your .com, getting your social media handles, securing them so that you aren't struggling with trying to figure out where to go. That's definitely important. Registering it officially as an LLC, which makes the most sense if you are a consultant or a coach. Do not spend a whole lot of time, my love, trying to research different types of business structures and all that kind of good stuff. If you're planning on being a consultant, a coach, you focus on getting your LLC, getting your tax ID done, getting that number, setting up your business bank account, and then ultimately setting up that financial structure, getting your software, connecting everything so that you begin to see some financial activity. And then that opens up the world for you to, getting a business credit and things like that. And in this setting up your structure piece legally, besides that, you also want to make sure you've got the right business address, you've got your business phone, you've got all of those things that allow you to have an actual presence and be an official business. In people's minds, when you don't have the right structure set up, and it's going to ultimately bite you in the ass because no one's going to believe that you can teach them how to do something or that you can solve their problem when you still trying to figure out your own problems that you're trying to solve. Okay. Now I'm going to talk to you about the fourth and fifth thing that I would do, because this is really the order. And in order to help you, don't even worry if you're taking notes and stuff like that, because I've got an amazing free resource for you. It is my consulting business startup checklist. It is absolutely free. I want to give it to you. I want you to make sure you grab it because it does walk you through, even in more detail than I can go over today, these 5 steps that I'm giving you to start your consulting business, 100%. So go ahead and grab it. The link for it is in the description below, also in the first pinned comment. And while you are down there, if I am giving you value, if I am helping you, if you are getting ahas, please make sure that you like this video. Let me know that this content is what you are looking for, and I will keep making it happen for you. And of course, while you're down there, subscribe, my love, because this is definitely the place where I'm going to keep bringing it to you full-fledged, dropping them gems and making sure that you got what you need to be as successful as possible. Now, the fourth thing that I would do, and I totally would do this if I were starting today, because in my past businesses, I didn't really do it until after I was already in the thick of it, and I learned so many lessons from that. So what I would definitely do is set up my basic business processes. Yes, I would set them up, the foundational ones that would get me started, in order to make sure that I can scale rapidly like I ultimately wanted to do, and I'm sure you want to do. And the basic business processes is your marketing, your lead generation, your sales, your onboarding and service process that you need to ultimately do for your businesses. And then also your operational processes, your money in and money out processes. How are you going to charge people? What all of those things are going to look like? Those are some critical processes that you have to set up. And I say that because your lead gen strategy and process is absolutely critical. You won't have leads coming in. You'll be struggling to make sales if you don't take the time to get that set up before you actually launch and start this business. Then once you have leads coming in, you're going to need a step-by-step workflow, automated process for you to be able to sell them, get them on board, have your calls with them, get them their proposals, contract them, invoice them is that money in, operational process. And then also once you get them, you have to maintain that relationship. You have to retain them as customers and clients. You don't want a bunch of refunds and cancellations coming in. So you got to onboard them appropriately. And then ultimately you got to sit down and think through how you're going to deliver the service, how you're going to fulfill the contract that you have asked people to sign on with you for, and what you're going to do in order to make sure that they are seeing the transformation and that you are truly giving them the consulting, coaching, or service needs that they have. So these processes are very important. And I oftentimes tell people, you got to do it before you do it.
Do it! Just do it!
And that means you got to sit down and think through what that journey is going to look like for your potential client and customer. And that entire journey is so important to the success of your business. And you've got to kind of write it down, map it out, automate as much as possible. All of those things are going to help you figure out things that you're still trying to figure out, that you're wondering. You're wondering, what technology tools do I need, right? You're wondering what systems. You're wondering what team members. You're wondering, should I hire someone to help me with this? How do I get a website going? What do I put on my website? All of those things are determined based upon this step right here, this fourth thing right here. Because once you figure all of that out, you'll have all the details of exactly how a person is going to come into your business as a lead, become a client through your sales process, and then ultimately what they're going to get on the back end as you deliver that service. Whew, this step, game changer. Trust me, game changer. And the fifth thing that I would do if I were starting my consulting business all over today, I would then market the hell out of it. I never really did a great job at actively going out there and marketing in my previous businesses. And it made it really, really difficult for me to have a consistent influx of leads to maintain the stability and the sustainability and to be able to scale my organization. So it was absolutely critical for me to do, and I didn't do a good job. I kind of relied on referrals or word of mouth, or I would attend a few networking events, and I would, go out there and just kind of dabble in the marketing. And I didn't really sit down and create that marketing strategy to sell it and be able to implement it. And that means you got to determine your marketing mix. What mix of marketing techniques and strategies are you going to use in your business? You also have to create content. You have to use content to show your expertise as a consultant. That is going to be a primary mechanism and strategy for you to use as you are attracting your right customer, because your expertise you have to show. In order to show, you got to give content. In order to give content, you have to create it. In order to create it, you have to map everything out that you're going to be doing. So you got to figure all of that out. And then you also have to focus on growing your audience and providing value even before people are paying you. Because ultimately giving away that free value, like I do even here on YouTube and on other social media platforms, it really does change the game from a marketing and leads perspective. Now, I'm not just saying that the only way that I market is digitally. I don't just do social media. I don't just deliver content. I don't just do YouTube. I still do speaking engagements. That's a form of delivering content. I still attend a lot of events. I still am actively participating in my community. I sit on a lot of boards. I chair boards. I chair committees. I'm out there meeting people all the time because that's also a part of my marketing mix. And it also is a great fulfilling thing for me to kind of continue to go out there and fulfill my purpose. And so for you, I'd probably be at 9 figures, 10 figures even, if I had done that, and started doing that 25 years ago and didn't just really start embracing this active, digital and active marketing stance that I did, in the past handful of years. So 100% girl. do that. Do it now while you start. It will change the game for you, and you could definitely see 7 figures in less than 10 years, maybe even less than 5, for real. So again, don't forget to grab your consulting business checklist. And also, if you're interested and you want to check out the Get Your Business in Order online course that I mentioned, the link for that will also be in the description below. Go ahead and check it out. It comes along with a free training, and then you can look at whether or not you just want that course that's going to walk you through step by step how to set up your business in 1 week. You can do it literally in 7 days. So make sure you check that out. And if you need anything else, please let me know in the comments below. If you are embarking upon your consulting business journey, and you got questions and you are working through some of the things that I just talked to you about today, let me know in the comments below. I will make sure that I check it out. My team will give you some feedback, give me some advice. And until next time, my loves, I will see you soon. Hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful week. See you on Tuesday. Stay safe. Bye-bye. Mwah!